The Magic Show is brought to you by StarCityGames.com, and check this out. The super sweet Ion deck boxes, held closed via a magnet and encased in leather, are currently available at StarCityGames.com for only $9.99 each. Or you can grab a full set of 5 for just $44.99. To keep your deck well protected and looking good, pick up your Ion deck box from StarCityGames.com today.
This is Paul Chion, and welcome to the Magic Show.
Hello everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Magic Show. This week we're going to take a peek inside at our first Shadowmoor pack, detail the push for new player acquisition and complete assimilation of the planet Earth in the name of magic, learn some details about this fall's upcoming expansion, discuss the current extended environment, and more. Let's go! In this week's first segment, we see what much hype mechanic is returning for Shadowmoor. Hybrid mana. Yes! Now that's a beloved mechanic right there. Super duper flavorful, the frames are just badass, and while we may not have guilds any longer, just take a look at Beseech the Queen. 2/B? Oh man, that is awesome! Let's explore a little what if for a moment. Beseech the Queen, whatever this card ends up being, can go in any deck. It's righteous in a mono black build, whether that be one drafted or constructed, but in a pinch you could play it for 2 black and 2 colorless, a black and 4 colorless, or 6 colorless mana and get the same effect. The design space for this is just huge. I'm sure the instant Mark Rosewater got the okay to use different hybrid mana amounts, he was leaping with joy. The question is, can you have another number there besides 2? It also makes sense that if 2/B is okay, then 3/B will work as well. This allows for some really interesting spells such as this one. Playable in any deck, just excellent in the green ones. Man, Rosewater really wasn't kidding when he said a few weeks ago that this block would end up being the most dynamic drafting environment ever. It's like he took everything we loved about Ravnica drafting, the mixing, the matching, the colorful mana bases, and delivered us even more ways of playing different colored spells. Incredible. Another one of the big questions we await an answer for is this. What exactly is Beseech the Queen's converted mana cost? Does it deal about 100 when you reveal it with Dark Confidant, or just 3? Can you pick and choose? Can you transmute from 3 to 6 mana as you like? This will be a very interesting topic and a question that will be both asked and answered all day long at the pre-release. I can only hope they plaster MagicTheGathering.com with the ruling so people can get it in their heads. I hope. In this pack, we got to see a few interesting themes and trends coming in Shadowmoor. For example, check out this badass black elemental, or how about the blue Kithkin, who apparently are the Kinscare, or something. The uncommon reveals a white elf, which will be plenty interesting, and this all shows how tribes are being shifted around because of the Aurora. Other cards in this pack that stand out are Scar, which may tell of a -1/-1 counter theme, Lurebound Scarecrow for being, well, a friggin' scarecrow, which as we know is just badassery, and we couldn't talk about these Shadowmoor previews without discussing the lone spoiler Demigod of Revenge. Now for some you say, holy crap, a 5/4 hasty flyer for 5 mana, that's fantastic. And others say, yeah, and it brings back his dead copies as well. But to those who sling the cardboard tournament style, they focus on this fact. Take a careful look at his wording. Even if Demigod of Revenge is countered, when you play him, all of his dead copies are coming back, no matter what. And that, my friends, is powerful stuff. For a 5-mana creature, particularly one of the red and black variety, if you want to displace the current king of the 5-mana creature throne, Siege Gang Commander, you better be damn good early and damn good late. And thanks to this Cryptic Command proof monster, we may have gotten our wish. And say, isn't Buried Alive and extended for another 6 months or so? To finish off this segment, I'll continue a trend I began in Morningtide and highlight some fantastic artwork that has been released from Shadowmoor. So Wizards is officially having an acquisition push. This is what they define as, in the film industry, putting asses in seats, and that's just what we plan on doing with Magic. But there's a few issues. You see, Magic is sort of like a private club whose initiation rituals, the Mana Flood, the Mana Screw, the $50 green monsters needed to be competitive, are sometimes more painful than they're worth to some people. You want to give them something they know for context, but you don't want to give them too much at once. The incredible and soon-to-be studying in Asia Henry T. Luce scholarship-winning powerhouse that is Zach Hill recently made a great case for Magic and perhaps the key to acquisition. He discussed Magic in some way to each of the people he met regarding his scholarship, as Magic gave him perfect answers to, what would you do if you were dropped off in the middle of a foreign country? Or, what makes you think you'll be able to form social networks where you don't know a soul? Magic enables not only the ability to see the world, but also learn how to interact and network with your fellow Magic players to become the best you can be. Again, we reach the same old argument. Don't be ashamed of the game, and run like hell from any comparison to Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh! And be on the Magic Show so you can make your mom proud. Oh, and here's one I thought was an interesting point by the forum user Lux Gladius on Zach Hill's article. Quote, paying attention to the story behind the game is about as silly to me as paying attention to the flavor behind chess. Okay, you're this king, right? And you have command of this army of 16 pieces and 6 different types. You have a piece that represents you, but you kind of suck because you're all burdened down by bureaucracy. Your pawns are your foot soldiers, but they can only move really slow and attack weird. You have these knights and they've got horses so they can jump over other pieces and attack by flanking them. Honestly, whoever teaches chess like that? Shouldn't be any different with Magic. You don't say, you're a wizard who casts spells to kill your other wizard opponent. Just play the game and let them fill out the flavor. And I think he's exactly right. I mean, let's take a minute and visit playmagic.com. If you want to learn Magic via YouTube, you're set up with 6 videos. Here's what they say on the first one.
Magic is a strategy card game in which you take the role of a powerful wizard with the ability to summon creatures to fight for you. The goal is to reduce your opponent from 20 life down to 0 before they do that to you.
Now, if you remove take the role of a powerful wizard and whatnot away, and adjust the nomenclature from life to perhaps life points, this presents the game in a much different light. However, I'm not a Vorthos and I really couldn't care less about storylines. I believe to get people into the game, it's important to focus on the mechanics of the game and move along from there. If we go back to the video, other than explaining that you're a powerful mage and that you must take your opponent from 20 life to 0, there is no mention of how to actually play Magic. You will get to see what a booster pack is and how starter decks are ready out of the box, but notice the title is Learn How to Play Magic, except you have to get to the second video to actually begin doing that. I'm not trying to pick on wizards, I'm just trying to make a point. Sometimes storylines are cool, but we learn and play Magic because the game is fun, not because I imagine I've got on my robe and wizard hat. This next segment is another view into the future of Magic, this time fast-forwarding into the Rock expansion. There's quotes around that word because it's a code word for what will inevitably be some interesting-sounding fantasy-esque name. The denizens in the rumor mills have struck again, this time displaying 2 pages of a Wizard's Fall catalog, and some very interesting artwork and details were divulged. The first is that the block will take place on 5 planes. Don't ask me what that means. The second fact is that humans will be coming back. As you may have noticed, there are no humans in Lorwyn, and it's time they rock the tabletop again. Thirdly, there is a class-based system of importance from the mages at the top to the commoners at the bottom. Lastly, the most important part of the humans in this world is the physical characteristic of filigree. This causes a person's bodies or limbs to change shape into that of curving and twisting threads. The more magic you wield, the crazier the shape your body becomes. As you can see, they certainly have an interesting shape. So far, the speculation is that Lumathread Field is the future sight card from the Rock expansion, as it references Oda and the Bastion of Fields that could be the name of one of those planes. Looking at the creatures themselves, you can see malformed entities and possibly an allusion to mana cost being important in the block. The more malformed the magic involved, meaning powerful mages will have a higher mana cost and the lesser ones will be much cheaper. For the speculators among us, this is just hog heaven. For the rest, it gives us an idea of what's to come and that it's going to look badass. Well, I did it. I agreed to drive 9 hours to the city of brotherly love and hopefully not get killed along the way. Next week you'll hear the skinny directly from those who attend, from the great Chapin to Satan to Cheon to Kenji, if he shows up. We can only hope. While you won't be getting live updates, you may wish to keep an eye on the coverage on MagicTheGathering.com, as some of my visit may appear there. As for what to play or what will win, beats me. My guess is that you'll still see Doran, Red Deck Wins, Teps, Next and Previous Level Blue, Dredge, and Blue-Green Tron, all in mass amounts. I doubt there'll be any metagame breaking decks, rather hardcore pros who have been working diligently for weeks now trying to get the magical edge, the sideboard card, or the ultimate bluff that will get them to the winner's circle. That said, my bet's on Cheon. That man is a Grand Prix winning machine and a great guy to boot. So you know I'll be running around the site for the next few days, and be sure to say hello. It's always nice to meet fans of the show. So until next time, Magic players, when I bring you the biggest and brightest stars of the game directly to your desktop, this is Evan Irwin tapping the cards so you don't have to.